Perfect. So what we're going to do today, on today's call, we're going to be talking about each of our 5 favorite marketing tactics. I think I might have said strategy, but when Duncan and I talked about this last night, he's like, yeah, I think these are like tactics. I'm like, that's so much a better way to say this. So our 5 favorite marketing tactics that we like to use in our own business, or that I've seen work really well for other businesses. So Duncan has 5 and I have 5. Now we are recording this for the podcast, but if you have questions along the way, please ask questions. You can ask in the chat, or you can unmute, or you can wave me down and say, hey, I want to unmute. Is that okay? Whatever you want to do. And we're more than happy to answer your questions. At the end of the call, we are going to talk a little bit more of what we're going to be doing moving forward, because the Marketing Power Hour call is coming to a close. This is our last free one that we are doing with you guys. Duncan and I have already had a discussion of where we kind of want to go, and there will be surveys we'll be sending out to you guys to see what it is that you need. But we're going to talk a little bit about what our vision is at the end of the call. So if you're interested in that, you can hang around for that discussion as well. Okay, so you ready, Duncan?
I have never been more ready for anything.
Okay, good. Then you get to go first.
Oh boy, okay.
We're sharing our top 5 favorite marketing tactics. What is number 1 on your list?
Number 1 on my list is number 1 because it's something that I use all the time. I still use it to this day. And, a few of the other ones on my list are kind of like things that I've seen other people use, but I figured I'd start with one that I personally use and love. And it's cold outreach by offering a gift. So we got to break that down a little bit. Okay. So cold outreach is when you're reaching out to people that don't know you, have never heard of you, completely cold conversation. And one of the ways that you can get them to warm up to you almost immediately is by offering something of value to them. The way that I use that in my business is, it's a pretty common strategy in like digital product businesses or digital service businesses. And the way that I use it is I will reach out to somebody and say something like, hey, I love your business and I am a huge fan of your brand and your logo. And what I have done is I've animated your logo for you. Just out of the kindness of my heart, I have taken the time out of my day to animate your logo. And all you got to do is tell me where you want me to send it. Give me a good email to send it to if you're interested in it, and I'll send it right over. The reason that we do this is it really just sets you up as like a great guy, a great person, and it gets their contact information so that you can then follow up with them via email marketing or, continue the sales conversation there. The key to this strategy for me, so that I don't end up just animating hundreds of logos for free, is that I don't actually animate the logo until someone says they actually want it, right? So I'll send out 50 of these to businesses that I'm interested in working with. And when 10 of them say, yes, I would love the logo, that's when I go do the work and actually make it and send it to them. And I say, hey, I'll get it sent over tomorrow, a little bit busy. That gives me some time to go animate the logos and then send them over. This method of, usually cold outreach like this has really, really low conversion rates. Like you're not going to get a lot of people to actually take whatever you're trying to sell after the fact, or even respond to you. Very low response rates for cold outreach. But when you're offering something that has really high perceived value, but not extremely high actual cost to your business, like logo animations to me are not very expensive to create, but it's a really high perceived value to see your logo animated, moving around with a little bit of music and sound effects. It's a very high perceived value thing that I can offer that gets my foot in the door and shows somebody a little bit of the kind of service that I can offer. There are ways that you can do this with different industries, right? I've seen people do, for real estate flipping. I've seen people do sending like a property appraisal, which would normally cost money to get somebody to do. They'll like send book your free property appraisal, respond to this and we'll get this book for you and pay for it so you can figure out exactly how much your property's value is. That's like a kind of a similar thing. But if you can think of a something that your ideal client wants that you can offer that has really high perceived value, that you can reach out to them and offer it and fulfill it when they respond, that's kind of that strategy. So
yeah, and I love that, and I use that a lot myself as well. And I think it's, it can be as simple as the lead magnet, right?
yep.
Like, here's a free report about XYZ. I do the free Facebook posting guide, show you what you should and should not be posting to your Facebook page. I've also offered this as a free Facebook page review. A lot of you guys have had me do free Facebook page reviews for you. And that's a big reason why I'm doing it, is because I want to be able to give first. Before I ask for the sale, I'm giving first, building a relationship, showing you that I know what I'm talking about. And if it's a good match, I'll offer, additional services for you. But I think everybody here should kind of write that. I'm a big fan of thinking time, of just writing a question across the top of a piece of paper and really meditating on that question and writing across the top, what can I offer for free? What kind of gift could I give them before they ever become a customer? And I think it's really important what you said too. You don't go out and you make 50 animated logos. You wait for the 10 people to respond, but also you picked the 50 companies you were reaching out to in the first place. So you've got to be careful about this. I don't offer a free Facebook page review for all of my handmade sellers because I would never stop. I'd be working all the time and I would not have a good return on my time investment for that. But I can totally do it for a local business owner where there are fewer people offering such a thing, and people who tend to spend on marketing and will have a better budget to be able to purchase the thing that I'm doing. Also, I'm not going to do it for a $27 a month program, right? I don't mind doing it for a $1,000 service, but not for a $27 a month program. So you've got to weigh that, when you're considering what are you going to give as a gift. But I love gifts. I think that anytime you're giving first, it's a win. Perfect.
Yep.
Great job. All right. I love that.
You're up.
I'm up. All right. So one of my favorite things, and this is going to sound a little bit old fashioned, but I am in love with the idea of print newsletters. Print newsletters are fantastic. And I was fortunate enough to kind of come up in the marketing world with mentors who really believed in print newsletters as well. And I actually helped a couple of these guys develop and design their print newsletters. And the thing about print newsletters is that it is a tangible piece of mail you're sending out to both your current customers and your prospects, that not only inform them and educate them, but it also entertains them and it keeps you top of mind. It is kind of like what we just talked about with Duncan about a small gift, right? So every month they're getting something interesting in the mail that keeps you top of mind. And why I really like print newsletters right now is because everybody's gone digital. Oh, well, it's free to send an email newsletter, so I don't have to spend the money on a print newsletter. But a print newsletter done well, where you're telling a little bit of story about your family, you're telling stories about other customers, you're answering frequently asked questions, you're educating them, you're maybe giving them a little crossword puzzle or something to do. People will stop and read those, and that is going to be so much more effective in the mind of your follower than sending an email with an attached PDF. An email with an attached PDF is just lazy. It is not, nobody cares. They're not going to take the time to open it, but when they get it in the mail and it's in their hands and they see maybe a picture of a customer, or they're looking to see if they ever get mentioned or featured in it themselves, right? When they're like, their friend is asking, oh, who should I have as a financial advisor? Oh, I get this newsletter from my financial advisor all the time, and he does this dinner, and I just read in the newsletter where the dinner's coming up. You should come with me to that dinner. print newsletters are fantastic. People will collect them, they'll keep them. It gets them talking about you, it gets them thinking about you. If they're already a customer, they're going to either buy more if they can or refer more. And if they're not a customer, you're increasing your odds of getting them to be a customer. Now, again, you've got to watch what industry you're in on this, right? I'm not going to do a print newsletter for my $27 a month clients. But if you are a financial advisor, an attorney, if you're a realtor, if you have any kind of high ticket business like that, there is absolutely no reason why you should not be doing print newsletters for your current, past, and future clients.
Yep. And I think that
newsletters.
I think that's a great idea for a lot of reasons. And you know, we talked yesterday about really it's about standing out and looking different than the crowd. And right now, like you said, everyone is doing digital, and it's an easy, not too expensive way to stand out. I saw kind of the you know, high-end version of this. A company actually did a run with a printer, like a newspaper printer, and they do like a quarterly newspaper run about their business, and they talk about their clients and, you know, how things are going. And it was like literally a newspaper, and they did 50 of them, and their clients could purchase them. And it was like, obviously you don't want to, that's kind of a hard thing to sell if you don't have like a huge brand where everybody's kind of following the business. But just to give you some ideas, like literal newspaper, and there are people that had it framed and put up on their wall because it felt so special. You can create something that's like special and different, and it can really help you stand out. So yeah, I love that idea.
Yeah, and I want to be clear too, a newsletter does not mean, I wish I had one on hand, and I don't know how to grab one real quick, and I don't know how to tell Tim which one to grab. But when I say newsletter, I don't mean a slick magazine that's full color, or I love the old school black and white. You can have photos in there, but have it a black and white photo, color paper if you want to, but that feels more real and tangible than something that looks like a promotional piece that's full gloss, full color, looks like an advertisement. We want to try to not look like an advertisement as much as possible.
Yep.
This goes back to even the old school tactic of, if everybody else is running their ad in color, you run yours in black and white. Color is not necessarily the better thing to do. And I think that way for me, that's what I'm drawn to with newsletters. I'm like, that looks like there's real information in there and not just a bunch of fluff like a magazine or something.
Yep.
All right, back to you. What's your
Back
second
to
one?
me. All right, we were just talking about standing out, and my next one is about how to stand out even more. I don't remember, maybe you remember the example of who was it that mailed a coconut? Who came up with that? Do you know?
Oh, I can't remember who did originally, but I remember the story. Yeah,
Okay, you remember
we talked about that before. Yeah, mailing the coconut.
So the one I want to talk about is basically called chunky mail. Okay, so you get probably hundreds of junk mail letters a year, and you know what they are. They look super familiar. You know, super bright colored paper on the inside. You usually just chuck them. They're getting kind of sneaky where they try and make it look like an official document and get you to open it, and then you realize it's garbage. You know, all that stuff is to me, it's boring, right? Like, you can trick somebody into opening a letter, making it look official, but what is more fun and what has a little bit more showmanship is what's called chunky mail. And these crazy marketing ideas really are appealing to me. Things like mailing a coconut, or putting something in an envelope that makes it larger than a flat envelope, so the person's like, what is this in here? There's clearly something in here that I need to find out what it is. It can really increase your open rates on direct mail, physical pieces of mail, and you can make it fun. That's really what I look for in marketing campaigns, is a little bit of showmanship, a little bit of fun. And you can do things like, again, mailing a coconut. We were talking yesterday about the guy who mailed a huge, like a poster. And when they got it, they had to unroll it. And that physical act of unrolling it and revealing the message inside, it creates a little bit of it creates an experience. It creates a memory for the person opening that thing, and they attach that memory to you, right? That's what it's all about. You're trying to stand out. You're trying to be memorable. And how do you do that in today's day and age? I think that chunky mail, kind of crazy marketing tactics, like physical marketing tactics like that, still work really well. And you can apply it to your industry, right? So like, I could send maybe a letter with a little miniature camera on a keychain in it, right? So I'm photography, videography, that might be a cool thing for them to get. They might not keep it, who knows, but the point is they opened it and it was memorable and they got to see the message that was inside. And yeah, so stuff like that can work really well for direct mail. And you could send a coconut, who knows? You know, there's coconuts all over the place. Just pick one up and slap a stamp on it and just send it out, see what happens.
It was so funny because I think it was maybe the second networking event that you and I went to together. I told a guy, it was like speed networking. I'm like, you could send a coconut. And then later he was at your table and he's like, this lady over there told me I could send a coconut. And Duncan's like, I know exactly who you were talking to.
Yeah.
But yeah, my friend, so the giant poster, a friend of mine actually had a printing company, and he did a giant while you were out, the pink while you were out slips that they used to use in offices years ago. This was a giant poster while you were out, and you could have your message printed on the while you were out. So rather than just an envelope with like, hey, I'd love to talk to you about your insurance needs or whatever, you have a giant while you were out. And again, that's going to be a high value client that you send that to. I once tried to find a way to send a sponsorship letter in a more unique way. And I sent them in, you know how you get the little mini boxes of cereal? You get the big pack of mini boxes of cereal. I just took all the cereal out and I mailed the letter in the boxes, and I got a call. He didn't want to sponsor, but he was like, I had to call you because this is absolutely fantastic. And I want to see how we can work together. What can we do? And then we even talked about on episode 1 in the podcast for the frozen yogurt shop, you said mail them a spoon, right? Just mail them the spoon. Happy birthday. It's your birthday. Get some free frozen yogurt on us, and you've already got the spoon. The important thing is to always make a connection, right? Don't mail a coconut if you don't add something like you'd be cocoa nuts to not take, like that's kind of stupid, but you've got to make some kind of connection, and you've got to connect the dots between the chunky weird thing that you sent, like you said, sending a camera, and the actual offer and message that you have there. Yeah, that's a fun one. That's really good. Okay, so it's my turn. You guys, I have to go back to Facebook. Like half of mine are Facebook. Maybe three-fifths of them are Facebook. I really love contests and or high engagement posts on Facebook. I think that, again, most people are so boring when it comes to Facebook. They're like, hey, if for all your needs, go to the trusted source. I mean, it's like just such milquetoast, boring advertising, right? So I like doing posts that are the this or that, pick your favorite, scale of 1 to 10 posts. A good example I've talked about before is I had a client who sells jams and jellies. She did a pick your favorite. Which one of these jams would you like to try the most? Or which one of these sounds the best to you? And she was selling jams and jellies left and right just by asking people their opinions. Scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love this? Fill in the blank. In one word, describe this, fill in the blank. Should we do this or that? People love to give their opinions. I don't know. Should I go with the black or the white? Should I go with this plant or that plant, right? And let them choose. Now, the important thing with this is you've got to ask questions that people care about. So I've had clients that have said, like, which one of these scents is your favorite? Which one of our products is your favorite? That's what it would be. Which one of our products is your favorite? And they haven't hardly sold anything. So nobody really has an opinion on that because they haven't purchased any of the products to be able to have an opinion on it. You also got to be careful of just asking questions, that are so broad and open-ended that they don't know how to answer. And this is why I like narrowing it down to pick your favorite. Not only is it pick your favorite, we usually do like a group of 4, right? But we'll put A, B, C, D. And when they pick their favorite, all they have to do is say A, B, C, or D. And the mistake most people make is they try to be engaging on Facebook, and they're like, what do you think? How would you do this, or that? And they're like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to answer that, or it's going to take me a lot of time to answer, or I don't care to answer. Hey, what are you doing on this Friday afternoon? You're going to get so very few of your customers are going to want to respond to that. But if you ask them this or that, scale of 1 to 10, one word, those are really quick, easy, fast answers. And I had kind of like, I wrote high engagement posts and contests because I think contests are a form of high engagement posts that you can use that get people really, really excited about your business. It's giving first, just like we've already talked about, and having people guess. Jessica did a couple of months ago, are we going to be able to get all of this stuff on the truck or not? And then everybody who had the right answer, so it was a yes or no. And then everybody who had the right answer, she would randomly pick and give like a $50 restaurant gift card to, right? So I love the high engagement post that also gives a prize for people responding. Now, the prize has to be something that generally people want. It should also be applicable if we're talking local business here. Jessica may not want to give away a gift certificate for lawn mowing, but if there's a popular restaurant in Bonita, that would be a fair prize to give. You don't want to give, I always give the example, you don't want to give a TV because anybody and everybody enters in that contest, right? You don't want people in California entering in your guess how many for your local post because they think they're going to win a TV. So giving a prize that is locally connected, even if it's not something of your own, is going to force people to be from your area in order to claim it, because otherwise they can't claim it. But I love anything that gets people to react and gives them fun on Facebook. You will be surprised at how many sales that will create, because you've caught their attention. This is the game, right? They all need these products and service. It's who gets their attention the most that makes them want to take action and actually hire that person. So when you're doing things like this to get high attention, that's good. And my last caveat on that, before you add anything, Duncan, is to not overdo it. You can't do this on everyday posts. I call these high sugar posts. If you eat sugar every day, all the time, eventually you're going to get sick of it. So once a week, maybe up to twice a week, but once a week usually is enough, and it boosts you in the algorithm too, that the rest of your posts are going to get seen more often.
Yep. Love that. Some of the best and like most successful posts that I've kind of helped people make, clients make, have been contests. And one of the things that I love also, if you have some sort of physical location, a retail space, whatever, or if you can partner with somebody that does, and you can build your contest around potential clients coming in and creating content for you. For example, like a photography contest, like best photo of X, submit it, and the most likes on whichever photo wins the thing. Those work really well and drive engagement, because people are voting by liking or reacting to the posts, and all those pictures are on your post, and it's bringing all that engagement to your page. If you can build the contest around something where you're having other people do the work for you and you don't have to create the content, that's a great way to do it. And you get all that content to use on other platforms and roll into other pieces of your marketing. So
yeah, and I know you do that with like the grooming business you work with, and we've done that with our rabbit toy business, where we'll have them submit pictures of their we'll make a post and say, in the comments, submit a picture of your rabbit dressed up for Halloween or in a Halloween type scene. And then we pick our 12 favorite, make a post with those 12 favorite, and the ones that get the most votes, that person gets like $100 gift certificate to our website. Love that. But again, you have to have an engaged audience.
Yep.
You have to care about the prize, and it has to be something not too hard for them to fulfill. I already knew that the rabbit people were taking pictures of their rabbits dressed up. They're already dressing their rabbits up as Halloween.
Yeah.
Asking them to do something way outside of the normal of what they were already going to be doing. So you got to be careful with that you don't create something like, writing an essay so they win a $25 gift certificate. They're like, I don't feel like writing an essay, and I don't even know what to write, and I don't need your thing that much anyhow. And it can actually backfire that you're creating something that's boring or a chore versus something that's fun and interactive.
Yep.
All right, on to you.
On to me. Okay. The next one we actually talked about in our frozen yogurt episode, and it is using interesting ideas like a photo booth, for example, to help build a list. Now, this seems like it might really only work for people in retail locations, but I think that this can be it can be effective if, say, for example, you are a service-based business, home service business, and there's a community that has things like a food truck night where they bring everybody out. That's a thing that they do down here at several of the gated communities. And if you can get into one of those and have your photo booth in there and have people come in and use it. The function of these photo booths essentially is that you sit in there and you get your picture taken, and you need to put in your email in order for them to send the photos to you. So it can be a good way to gather emails from people in a community that you're having a hard time kind of breaking into, and do some email marketing to reach out to those people. Really, the point of this idea is, again, offering value, much like the lead magnets and things of that nature. But the value here is in the form of fun, right? Like if you can exchange fun for their contact information, it's even more, it reduces that friction even more. So again, love photo booths in general, and thinking about a photo booth in a physical location like a retail store, restaurant is probably the best application, but using that to collect people's information to communicate with them is one of my favorite tactics. And there are a lot of neat kind of technical things like that you can use. For example, if you have a website, I've seen, again, it's like kind of different direction, but the idea is like gamifying and making it fun for people to give you their contact info. I've seen on websites where there will be like a click here to spin the wheel, and it lands on something that you could win, like a 50% off coupon off of whatever, and all you got to do is put in your email to get that coupon. So think about ways you can turn collecting people's contact information into a game and make it fun, provide some sort of fun experience to help build your list. That's that one for me. So
I love the idea that you said with the community. So a lot of these closed communities, gated communities, having, it's hard to go in and just knock on doors, right?
Yep.
And say, hey, here's my card. Why don't you hire me? There are other ways of getting to them, like, really specific Facebook ads and that sort of thing. But if you have a boring business, if you have a business that is not fun and exciting in itself, it may be a hard sell to tell them, hey, when you have your food trucks in, let me set up a table so I can sell everybody financial services, right?
Yeah.
They're like, that's not exactly the fun that we're looking for. But if you hosted a photo booth, then you're bringing in the fun, you're bringing something of value that's interactive, that's a good time. And you could go even beyond that. We did for the farmers market, we would have somebody come down and do free massages, right? And then they were able to market their business in exchange with the free massage. So they give free 5-minute chair massages. We had several different businesses that would do that, but they had to bring something interactive. They couldn't just come down and say, here's our table and this is what we do. And a photo booth would have been awesome. That would have been a lot of fun. Even the hospital, when the hospital came down, I said, you better be taking blood pressure or something. You have to do something that is interactive and not just you standing there with pamphlets in front of you. And you said photo booths are not that hard to set up or get, or
they have.
I've never gotten a photo booth. So how would one do that?
Yeah, they have kind of like pre-made photo booths that have everything that you need in them. It's like a camera, or you can buy your own camera and attach it to the photo booth. They have them where you literally just wheel it in and set it up. It's not super heavy. They aren't super expensive, but it can go anywhere from like $500 to really expensive for like the highest end ones. $1,500 to $2,000 range. Obviously, that's like an investment in and of itself. You might want to turn that into a business and have people rent it out for weddings and whatever else.
But we could rent them out too, right? So if I was Scott and I wanted to set up in a neighborhood, I could go and rent a photo booth from a company. Mm-hmm. And just sponsor the photo booth.
Correct. Yeah. The sponsoring the photo booth thing, you would have to make sure that you are getting the contact information from people who are taking the photos. But yeah, you can definitely rent one or purchase one or set one up, right? Like you can partner with a photographer and say, here's my plan. I want you to take photos of people, bring a backdrop, just take down everybody's information so that you can send them the photos, and you pay the photographer for their time, and you both share that contact information. Photographer gets the info to try and sell the photos and sell photo shoots, and you get it to get your foot in the door in that community. And that's like back again on, come full circle to those professional partnerships. That would be a great way to do it as well.
I love that too. For, let's say you market your B2B and you market to professionals to set up at a convention or a conference or some sort of event and do headshots.
Yeah.
You bring in the photographer to do just a really simple headshot. And you're giving these headshots for free, and in exchange you're getting the name and email of all of these professional people that are in this location. I love that. That's a cool idea.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things that we offer. It's kind of in the same vein, but it's customer appreciation photo shoots. Again, we're not using it really the business isn't using it to collect customer information. It's to value and appreciate their existing customers. And you can do that again, B2B, like headshots for your existing clients, or you can use it to try and get new business for sure. So
love it. All right. I'm going to move on to number 3. My number 3 is using video to answer frequently asked questions. I love this, and I think it's highly underutilized, and it's one of the reasons that or it's one of the things that I do a lot in my business. I tend to not just create videos for video's sake. I tend to answer a question with it. And I think this is a fantastic way for people to get started with video. Because if you sit there and think, well, I need to script out a video and I need to know what I'm going to say, and I need it all to be absolutely perfect and look like a commercial, then you're actually going to create a pretty boring video. You may not be touching on the subject that people actually care about. It's very tempting to get super salesy in a video like that because you're thinking this is a commercial. And you're going to get so hung up on trying to make it perfect that you're probably not even going to do it. So what I love is making a list of questions that people are always asking you. These are my list of frequently asked questions. And then you just go on video and say, a question I get all the time is this. And here's the answer. Because the reason why I love it is because that's the question people are asking, meaning you're now creating the content that people actually want to see. So you don't have to guess of what would people like to hear from me. You can be pretty sure that the information that you're giving is the type of information that they want. And one of the things that I think TikTok has done a beautiful job of, and apparently Instagram has started to do this. I haven't seen it. I'm not on Instagram as much as I probably should be. And I'm dying for Facebook to get it, is one of the things that makes TikTok and so interactive is that when you do a video and somebody makes a comment and asks a question, or just, maybe tells you you're an idiot or whatever, you can actually click on that comment and create a response video to that comment. So your video goes directly below that response, and the question is right there at the top of your video when everybody else is watching it. So they can see what you're responding to. And I've tried to mimic that with my Facebook page, that when I make a post and somebody asks a question, they're like, yeah, but what about this? And Corey in our group, the direct or daily marketing ideas group, I made a post. He asked a question. Today, I'm going to be recording a video that answers that question, because Corey has that question. Other people have that question. And I'm able to create video content fairly quickly and easily and often, without having to sit there and thinking of a script and what should I say and how should I say it and like, where do I put the pitch in there, right? You just answer it like you're talking to a customer on the phone. And if the answer to that question is, hey, call us, then that's part of the answer of the question. So you're pitching without pitching. Sometimes the answer to the question is not that. Like when I respond to Corey's, it's not going to be like, oh, sign up for my program so you know how quickly to respond to somebody's Facebook message. You don't need me for that. I can just answer it and be cool, right? I can just be cool and answer questions and give him the support he needs while setting myself up as the expert. And that's the other thing. It's going to set you up as the expert, that because you're able to answer these questions. And it doesn't always have to be they ask a question about your service. It could be like for Jessica, I know we like to use Jessica as an example here. It could be that, Jessica, people are always asking, how short should I cut my lawn? Or why is cutting my lawn short a problem, right? So things that they don't know, things that they're curious about that have to do with your industry, even though it's not like, how much do you charge, right? That's what everybody always says. Oh, the only question I get is how much do you charge? But we all have questions about the kind of service that you're offering. We have questions about our lawn. We have questions about plants. We have questions about mulch. We have questions about all of those things as well. So answering those questions is the easiest way to create not high engagement content, but highly interesting content that your audience actually wants to know.
And just to add on to that, the idea of answering the most common questions that you get from your potential clients is a great way to come up with content ideas in general. Like that's great for video, it's great for social media posts, it's great for emails. Like answering questions it feels like 80% of my job, right? It's like I'm talking to clients, I'm answering their questions, kind of dealing with objections potentially if it's a sales conversation, and that is just like fuel to create so much content. I could write a blog on, literally why do I charge X amount of dollars per video? Like I could write a whole thing just on that question because it's so complicated. And, there's so much that goes into that question. So definitely use that as fuel for creating all kinds of content in addition to video. So.
Yes, absolutely. That's one of the things I have in my Facebook Jumpstart package. Like there's a frequently asked questions section, but I always think I'm kind of cheating with that because honestly, it's all answering frequently asked questions. Like 75% of what we're doing is answering those frequent and objections.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up objections because that is the other one. If you're always getting an objection, if you know that there's a certain thing holding people back, and if you say, man, if they only knew that going with the cheaper one is actually hurting them versus hiring me, perfect video. Like I hear this all the time. Yeah. What I hear is that, we're not that we're too expensive. I never like to go. But I hear about people who hire these cheaper companies and they think they're getting a deal, but here's the truth. They're actually not. And I'm going to expose this for you and giving them empowering your customers with the knowledge of making good decisions for themselves also sets you up as that expert.
Yep. I have a big list of questions that people ask in sales conversations in my notes app on my phone. It's like, as soon as I get off the call, I'm like, here's a new question that popped up that I hadn't even heard before that I need to address. Maybe other people are thinking it and they just haven't said it. This is the first person that said it, and I need to be aware of it. And it really helps you understand how other people see your product or service, because like you're on the inside. It's hard for you to really see how customers perceive your product and service or your business in general. But they'll tell you. The more conversations you have with people, they'll tell you how they see it. You just have to make sure you take note of it. So.
Yep. And you're exactly right. If one person asked it, a bunch of other people are thinking it.
Yep.
Most people are not going to be so bold as to ask, especially uncomfortable questions. So if you get one, know that was a brave person who was willing to say that, where there's a lot of really scared people who are afraid to even bring it up because they don't want to be embarrassed, or they don't want to they don't want to have confrontation. They don't want to sound stupid. So anytime you get those questions out of that, oh, well, it's just that one person. It's not usually the one person.
Yeah. And if you end up with a customer or client that is, that kind of just keeps those questions coming, you can tap into that a little more by asking them, right? It's like, go back and say, hey, how was your experience with X part of my, of the sales process? If they're a client, they want to work with you, they're happy with the service, you can go back to them and ask them about the process and see if there's any other spots that there was friction that you can address. If they're comfortable talking about it, definitely take advantage of it and ask to get some more feedback. So,
and speaking of friction, you're going to make a post about friction in the group, right?
yes, planning on it. Yeah.
Okay, your turn.
My turn. Okay. Awesome. So my next one is ideal client specific in-person events. All right. So you might be thinking, how do you do an in-person event if you don't have a location? All right. We're going to go full circle again back to partnerships. Partner with a business that is that serves your ideal clientele and has a physical location. So you serve the same clients with different services, different products and services. Obviously, you don't want to, generally speaking, you don't want to be teaming up with your competition to try and fight over the same customer base. But for example, I'm going to pick on Jessica again because we love doing that. If Jessica, for example, says that she makes the most money off of complete yard redos. I don't know if this is the case, but if she's going to make the most money or the most profit on redoing somebody's yard entirely with new landscaping, new mulch, new plants, what I might do is create an event where we partner with a nursery that sells a lot of these plants, and I would maybe make like a Florida native landscape workshop. Learn about the best Florida native plants that you can put into your landscape that are going to be good for the environment, and they're going to be super hardy and not take as much maintenance. And as Jessica's company, I would come in and I would teach this workshop, and I would go through it with the homeowners, and again collect all their information when they register, so I know that they're interested in redoing. They're registering for this very specific event that's talking about redoing your lawn with this kind of plant in this kind of manner. So that they're your ideal client, and you're setting yourself up as the expert as you're giving this talk. You're talking about how to do it, and then at the end, if you like, you can do a soft pitch where you're like, hey, we are offering everybody that came to this event X offer, whatever, 10% off your complete landscape renovation, redo project thing. Just for registering, we're giving you this special offer. Really great way to continue to build a list of very specific people. For example, we do another one. My business helps out with another one for the groomer that we've talked about a few times, where it's they do a lot of events, but the one that I like a lot is coming up. It's like a Santa photo event, right? So the people that are willing to dress their dog up in Christmas clothes and bring them out to get pictures with Santa are going to be like ideal clients. They love their dogs. Their dogs are their children. They're going to spend the most money on their dogs. They're going to come out to all of these events. And that's the kind of people that they want coming to their business. The people that love their dogs more than anything, that are going to spend more and, do all the luxury things that this company has to offer for their dogs. So ideal client specific events can work for anybody. You just really have to think about what they want, how to create a fun experience, an interesting and educational experience for them. And then if you don't have a location, you have to partner with somebody that, again, is in the same sector, hopefully serves the same clientele, and come together to create an event for that ideal client.
I am in love with in-person events. I think in-person events are, especially after COVID, and everybody was stuck at home and they couldn't go out and be around other people. People like to go and do something, whether it's get educated on a topic, or show off their dog, or go to food trucks and eat at a food truck. They like to go out and do something. So we did the farmers market, which is, kind of in essence an in-person event 24, all summer long.
Yep.
And I love the in-personality of that too, and being able to bring people in. We've also done this. I've done this with my Facebook training, right? Just doing in-person events where I invite people in, and I'm going to teach you for free everything you need, not everything, but most of the things you need to know about Facebook, like how Facebook actually works, how to post to Facebook in a way that gets engagement, etc. And when you bring people in and they come to you with intentionality, that is so much more of a serious customer than somebody who's like had a passing fleeting idea, maybe I should be on Facebook, but they don't really care, right? So you don't want to spend your time pursuing that sort of client. You want to spend your time pursuing a client that's actually going to show up for that event. So you're right, it's great for list building, and then it's great for making sure you're getting the exact right person who is primed for the type of offer that you make. Love them. And I think you're right, like a soft pitch at the end. I never pitched I mean, I talked about some of my services at the end of my Facebook class because people would say, like, that would be usually the question, like, how can you just do this for us? So I said, okay, here are some ways you could work with me if you want to, but we can talk afterwards if you're interested in this or not. But then I would open it up to just ask me questions about Facebook. So it was really kind of a hands-off pitch because I didn't want to be in their face and like, oh, this is the only reason I brought you here is to pitch you. If you turn it into that, if it just becomes a major pitch, if the entire presentation or the entire event is just a pitch, people are going to feel used and abused and like that you did not really provide the value that you promised.
Yep.
So build the know, like, and trust, build your expertise, and the right people will just say, how can I just have you do this for me? And that's what you ultimately want.
Yep. Yeah, you say it all the time, and I love the visual of it. Like, you want people to lean in and say, how can I work with you? You're leaning back and it makes them lean in more. I love that visual, and really like a soft pitch. I mean, like, it doesn't have to be anything more than, here's a goodie bag, thank you for coming. And in the goodie bag, it has information about how they can work with you or something like that. That doesn't feel like a sale. And in a way, it feels like more value, right? Like, here's this thing with, for the groomer example, the dog business, they would give out goodie bags and it would have treats in it. It would have, maybe like a small toy, and it would have a coupon for whatever off their first service. And it's just a way to kind of, sell without selling, sell without feeling like a sale.
And the important thing is that you also have their contact information, that they're going to hear from you again, right? Yep. Everybody that registers for my event, they're going to hear from me again. This isn't the last time they're going to hear from me. So I don't have to pitch them super hard at the time. And there are a lot of salesmen and even direct marketers that would say, oh no, you come in hard with that pitch. And I understand why they do that. But I have decided to go a different route, and I like the route that I go because then I'm working with people that know that I'm the right fit for them. I'm the right fit. I know I'm the right fit for them. They know vice versa. And it's no high pressure, none of that. Yeah, I could probably make more money if it was high pressure, but I wouldn't be as happy in my job. I wouldn't be as happy doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, and there's something to be said for being able to close people, especially when they're in that heightened emotional state. Like, if the event is like a really great event, a really fun event, that is oftentimes the best time to sell somebody when they're in that heightened emotional state. So maybe there's some thought to be put in, like, based on where your business is. Like, if you need to close business and you need to make this event work to bring in new clients, maybe you could try and close some people there, but you will have better long-term results if you do that kind of lean back, longer, stretched out version. So
I agree. All right. My number 4 is Facebook groups. Love Facebook groups. I think it's one of the most underutilized assets that everybody has at their disposal right now. And I keep saying we're going to do a class on Facebook groups, and we haven't done it yet. So we might do it. We might even do it as a Facebook Live or something, because this is the last Marketing Power Hour call for now. But we're going to do something on Facebook groups, because Facebook groups, especially for a local business, so you have local people are congregating together in a Facebook group. You think about why did we run ads in newspapers? Because the newspapers got delivered to everybody's house and everybody picked up the paper and read it. Now people are in Facebook groups. So why on earth would you not advertise your business in a Facebook group? Well, because they don't allow advertising, Allie. This is what I always hear. Allie, you don't understand, though. They have a no advertising rule. And I'm like, I understand they have a no advertising rule. We're not going to advertise. We're going to use the groups. So the first thing that a lot of people are already aware of, and our networking group does a really good job at this, is somebody says, I need XYZ service, right? Go back to Jessica on this one. I need somebody to cut my lawn. My guy just quit. I need help. And we know that they're within Jessica's market area. So Jessica can go in there and say, hey, I'm more than happy to help you. Big fan of tagging the page, so people can go and check out your page, look at your reviews, message you, all of that. So make sure you're tagging your page, but then having other people that come in the comments and also recommend the same, your business. which is why our networking group has been really good at this and gets a lot of business from this, because everybody in the group is recommending. And so you end up like with 20 people recommending you and only like 3 or 4 people recommending somebody else. And then that way everybody's paying attention to that. So that's a great way to advertise your business. But that's reactive, right? We're waiting for somebody to ask the question, I'm looking for XYZ. I'm going to post in the group later today Dana's post that she did. So Dana has a catering company, and she had purchased my Facebook Jumpstart package, and I wrote a little blurb, kind of the story of her and Cookie. And the story is basically something like, everybody thought we were crazy when we quit our corporate jobs and started a catering business. How are we going to survive? How are we going to compete against the big businesses? But here we are 2 years later, our business is growing like crazy, and we're so appreciative. We love serving the Bonita Springs area. And thank you for everybody for helping us and supporting us. So she, I didn't even teach her to do this. She had good instinct. She knew what to do. And as soon as she did it, I'm like, oh, clever girl. She figured it out. She took a really great picture of her and Cookie and posted that to the Bonita Springs group. She got over 400 likes on that post. And I think she said, and Dana, tell me in the comments if I'm wrong, I want to say like 5 clients out of that one post. She got maybe 75 to 100 new page likes from that post. She didn't sell in that post. She didn't go in and say, hey, if you need catering, and she's still getting them off that one post. She just said in the comments. She didn't say, if you need catering, call us, because that's salesy and that's promotional. And if the group doesn't allow it, then they're not going to allow it. Sometimes the group does allow that. Guess what? It doesn't work. Nobody pays it. Nobody's engaging with that post. Nobody wants to engage with an ad. Nobody does. Unless they're like seriously in need in that moment and you got them just at the right moment, right? But she just told a story about how she started her business, what she was scared of. It was very human. It was very personal. It was something that we as people connect with. Like, yeah, that would be scary. And wow, you're so brave. You did it. And this is amazing. And you love Bonita and I love Bonita. And this is just so great. And what created the sales was the engagement. So the story created engagement. The engagement told the algorithm, this is super interesting. Let's show this to a ton of more people. And so their post got huge distribution within this group of, let's say, maybe 20,000 people in the group. I think it's about 20,000. It got huge distribution within that group. Those who don't care about catering ignored it. Other people just liked it because of the story. But the people that were actually looking for caterers, it was more likely to pop up in their feed because it had all of this Facebook algorithm juice behind it, because it had all of this high engagement behind it. And they see the picture of them, very interesting, very engaging. Like, here's 2 people, there's all these comments. What is this story? And they're more likely to read the story. They're more likely to remember you in the future. Oh, there was that catering company, those ladies that quit their corporate job, right? So now they're going to continue to get people on into the future. That is how you use Facebook groups. You don't go in and plaster your ad everywhere. And yes, you can absolutely reply to comments of people looking for something. But again, it's reactive. If you're in an industry where you don't really get a lot of requests, we always joke in our group, there's the popular people that are always getting requests, but Scott doesn't get a lot of people looking for realtors, right? So how can you be proactive and post in that group? Either give value that, like, hey, there's a lot of misconception about XYZ out there right now, so I want to clear it up. Or introduce yourself, tell your story, tell a client story, and don't sell, just be giving and forward and all of that. And real quick on that, some groups allow you to join as yourself. Some groups allow you to join as yourself or your page. If you can only join as yourself, you can absolutely still do this. Just make sure that your WorkSat information is updated to your page, that they can like hover over your name and click to see your page. But if you can join as your page and then you not be salesy, that's kind of that's a sweet spot, right? You're joining as your page, not being salesy, and everybody who likes that post, then if you join as your page, you can invite to like your page. So it's really an extremely powerful, extreme. In my handmade group, we call this the quick cash method, because we've had people make $1,000 in sales the first week just learning how to post in groups in a way that was non-confrontational. And those high engagement posts I talked about early, fantastic in groups. Pick your favorite, scale of 1 to 10. What do you think? I can't decide, that sort of stuff. Fantastic in groups.
Awesome. Yeah. And Dana mentioned trying to recapture the magic of that original post. And I think that the nugget is like, is the human story. There are human stories. It's like that people connect with, that you can apply to different things in your business, right? It's not just why you took the leap to become a business owner. I'm sure that you've dealt with things like, one of the ones that I did that worked well for me was talking about something that happened on a job that I thought was going to be a disaster, that we kind of like pulled out of a tailspin and fixed it at the last second. People love like comeback stories. There's a lot of those, like, they want to hear about real stuff that happens that they can relate to. And I would assume that there's a lot of those. Everybody has those. So try and tap into that. Tell human stories that people can connect with that relate to your business, and that'll kind of recapture. I think that's what was magic about that post. It's like they want to hear a story that
it's a little bit David and Goliath, right?
Yeah.
Like we're just two people that quit corporate America, and how are we going to make it with all of these big companies? Well, you know what? We are making it. We want to root for the little guy. And Dana, the biggest thing that I'm going to add here, because I know you and I see your post, there is still a salesiness to your post that you're doing, that you've been posting after that one. And I told you, well, that first one was so well written, and you're like, you wrote that, and I didn't even remember. But I was able to not be like, we're here for all your catering needs, and you still like feel like you have to put that in there. It's really this leap of faith of, if I don't sell at all, I'm going to make more sales. But it sounds scary because you're like, yeah, but I want to get it in there. I want to get it in there. I want to make sure that they know that they can buy from me. And there's this desperation to it. So you've got to just back it all the way up and tell intriguing stories.
Yep. You don't need the sale. The story is what pulls people in and gets people to like you and believe in you and trust. Know, like, and trust, right? Yep. Like building know, like, and trust. That way you don't need to ask for the sale. If they know, like, and trust you, they'll come to you. That you don't have to ask. So yeah, just
and if you think
don't even put it in there.
If you think of the group as simply, I want to build relationships and have fun with people in this group, I want them just to think that we're cool and never even think about, I want to make the sale. You still have to connect with your business, but I'm just going to tell funny stories in here. I'm going to tell fun stories. I'm going to tell intriguing stories. I'm going to just share. I'm going to ask them for their opinion, because we're just having a good time as a community. That's, if you approach it that way and not as, I need to make a sale from this, then you're gonna come across much, much better. All right, Duncan, your turn.
All right, my last one is fake controversy or competition with other local businesses in your niche, or maybe not in your niche. I like this one because I personally love gossip. Like, I love a good fight. And if you can, fabricate one or make one that is fun for people to watch and follow along with, that can be a big draw for people to your business. It can produce a lot of, it can get a lot of people looking at you, right? If there's like maybe two car dealerships that are going at it for some reason, like we're going to sell the most cars, or, let me think of a better example here. I probably should have thought about this one a little bit more before I started, before we had this call. This one was just kind of an off the top of my head. Okay. So what about me and another video company? We got together and we made a series of videos about how we were both trying to win business from the same client. And the way that we were going to do it is we were going to go and both do videos and then have people vote on which one was the best. And whoever got the most votes was going to land the client. That's an idea of like a challenge between two different competing video companies that we both agree on beforehand. And it's fun and interactive because people are going to vote and they get to decide who wins the business. In reality, you can agree with that business that you're probably both going in on this project, and you can explain it to the client beforehand, like you're going to get 2 videos for the price of 1, or a little bit of a discount, and you're going to get all this PR from us doing this challenge. And that's like the tag on this idea, is that you can turn this kind of controversy into a product, right? Like that's something I could package and go to a business and say, hey, here's this thing. We're going to come to your business with 2 different video crews. We're going to create a ton of content for you, and we're going to stir up all this business or all this attention on social media because of this challenge. And here's the price. So you can turn that controversy in and of itself into a challenge. Maybe another good example, we can pick on Jessica again because it's our favorite thing to do. You could do a challenge where it's like a landscape makeover. You and another lawn care company are in the same, you see their truck in the same neighborhood and you're like, oh, competition. But instead of thinking about it as competition, you can go to them and say, hey, we're going to have a design off. We're going to take 2 houses that we service right next to each other. We're going to redo the entire thing, put pictures up on our Facebook pages, and have people vote on which one they like better. There's a lot of opportunity there to make really high engagement social media posts, get more attention from people in the neighborhood there. So really finding those kinds of competitions that you can do with other businesses is a really fun idea to create content, number one, and get a lot of people to interact with that content as well. And you can productize it and make it like a service. And good way to break in, now that I'm saying it, good way to break into new neighborhoods too, right? Like you do that, a bunch of people see it, maybe you post it in a group, and you could say something like, if you want us to do this kind of competition in your neighborhood, let us know. And you could bring that, use that to break into a new community. All right. What do you think about that, Allie?
I love that. And it makes me think of 2 things. So there's the examples that you gave that are you working directly with your competition. But I don't think it's a bad thing to nicely smack talk your competition sometimes too, especially if you have a relationship with them or that they're cool with it. Yep. Like they have the People's Choice Award type things, right? Where locally, is that what they call it here? I can't remember if that's up north or down here. But it's basically where a chamber or whatever will have you vote on the best hamburger or the best pizza. I would totally do videos like, so-and-so's going down. Like we've got the best hamburgers and we've got the best customers, and we're going to show them not in a way like they suck and we hate them, right? But that friendly competition, that friendly banter of, like we're going to take them down. So I really, really like that. I think people like to rally to your side. Yep. And so if you show them that you care about winning, they'll rally to your side to help you win. And then it becomes a whole game of like, guys, it's the final voting day. Oh my goodness, we're going to go live when they announce the vote so you guys can see if we did it. I'm sure we did it because we got the best customers in the whole area. And then afterwards you could do some kind of celebration, or you do some kind of concession, like, we humbly concede to XYZ company because, they beat us out this time, but next year we're coming for you. We're going to grab the title. Yep. So I like it in that direction too. And then I also like it. I had 2 clients actually did this. But the first client who did it, she created the controversy on her own page with herself, and with her products. And it was the Great Doily Showdown. And she did a March Madness style bracket system where she pitted doilies, guys. So if we can do this with doilies, we can do this with other things. She pitted doilies against each other, and every day people would vote and see which doily they liked the most. And then the next day when she announced the results, she would really bad Photoshop one doily kicking the other one in the eye, or burying it in the ground, or it getting hit by a train or something like that. And she'd be like, pineapple doily wins, hearts doily is buried, and then it would go on to the next thing. And people loved it. I had another client who took the same idea and did it with napkin holders. She has all these novelty napkin holders, and she had the napkin holders fight it out on her page. And it was just the most entertaining thing. And the one with the napkin holders, I think it went on like 6 or 8 weeks. It went on for a long time. and they loved it. She said her sales spiked. Everybody was highly engaged, and they're all rooting for their favorite napkin holder, right? Like, how do we take what we do in sports and what we do? Like, I was thinking boxing with the other thing, like, you know, all the trash talk and all that. How do we take that into our business and do it in a way that's positive and fun and not negative or toxic?
Sure.
I think it's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, I think like if you're gonna do that, you can tap into the same kind of mentality as like WWE wrestling, right?
Yes.
Like everybody kind of knows that they're putting on a show and they're playing roles, and even if you just have to kind of have that same kind of vibe, right? Even if you're going to be like the bad guy, I feel like you can play that role, but it has to be very clear that it's all a game, and you're the one that's trying to, be sneaky and win, and like it's all in public anyway. So yeah, tap into that professional wrestling thing and pick a character and play it. People love that. So.
As a kid, I was convinced there were good guys and bad guys on WWE. Like, but he's a terrible person.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. I love that one. All right. My last one is kind of my bread and butter in the rabbit toy business. I created this for the rabbit toy business, but I've used it in other industries. It works really, really well, and local businesses should be using this as well. And we can definitely use this with in-person events. Anytime that there is a very specific time and date of a promotion, an offering, or an event, and that is my email launch campaigns. The biggest mistake I see people make, and we've talked about this here on Marketing Power Hour before, is sending a single email and thinking that that is all that's needed. Or you're having an event and you put out a flyer for the event, you send an email, you make a post, and everything is pretty much the same thing. Hey, we're having this event at this time and place, show up, it's going to be a lot of fun. And that's it. That's all you post, is that one all-encompassing piece of information. What we did, and I learned this from the Multiple Streams of Internet Income book by Robert G. Allen. I learned this back in 2003. It was one of the biggest aha awakening moments for me with marketing, was creating these campaigns. So for our rabbit toy business, I'm going to use that as an example. We send an email, let's say on Monday. On Monday, we'll send an email that says, hey, we've got a really big sale coming up. We're going to offer 20% off of everything. But we're also going to do giveaways and release some new products. So watch for your email tomorrow. I'm going to tell you more about the giveaways on the email tomorrow. Tuesday, they get an email. We're having this 20% off sale. It's going to be a lot of fun. I talked to you about giveaways. So let's talk about some of the things we're going to give away and how you can win them. Like, we're so excited. Like, we're bringing the energy level up, right? Like, more excited than what I sound right now. We're super excited about it. It's 20% off everything on the website. Plus, we're doing these giveaways. The first 10 to respond are going to get this. We're going to choose 3 orders at random and give them extra prizes. Anybody who spends over this amount is going to get a prize. Now watch for tomorrow's email, because we're going to show you some of the new products that we're going to be releasing, and some of them are limited edition, so you don't want to miss them. Tomorrow's email comes, we recap everything we've already said, and then we say, here are the new limited edition items that we're going to be launching. Thursday, then, we send them an email saying, don't forget, tomorrow the sale starts at noon Eastern exactly, and we don't want you to miss out on the limited edition item or limited quantity items, and we don't want you to miss out on these, act fast prizes. So watch for your email at exactly noon on Friday. Friday at noon, we send the email. Usually Friday by 12:03, we are getting emails from panicked people. I don't have my coupon code yet. Where's my coupon code? I don't have it yet. I've been waiting here. Waiting for it. We know we're doing really well when on Thursday we're getting emails like, I really can't break away from work at noon. Can you possibly give me my coupon code earlier? The excitement level would be so high that we would sell $3,000 to $4,000 worth of rabbit toys in the first hour of this sale, and get everybody show up within that first hour. Not everybody. We would double that for the entire sale. Then while the sale was going on, we would continue to email them, let them know what's left, let them know what's popular, answer questions we've been getting along the way, and then we have an end date. So we would send usually around 13 emails in a matter of 10 days. 11 days. This email launch campaign is amazing for events. If you want to host an event like the in-person events that we talked about, ramping people up and getting them excited and withholding some information, but telling them that that information is going to be really cool, wait until tomorrow to see it, is one of the most amazing ways to get people excited for what it is you're doing.
Yep.
If you just tell them what it is and you say, here you go, you're invited, and everything looks like that, nobody's going to be excited. Even if all of those things I mentioned are on the list, there's no anticipation. There's no next thing they're looking for. They're not paying attention. You've got to make them pay attention.
Yep.
So you can do this with email. You can do this through Facebook. You can do this through direct mail. You could do a campaign like this in direct mail if you were so inclined. But you've got to spread your message out over a wider period of time, especially when it's really important that you get people to show up at a specific day and time. Mm-hmm. You've got to build up the anticipation and the energy needs to go up and up and up and up until you finally hit a fever pitch that they're dying to attend, and they're rearranging everything else in their schedule so that they can be there. I have people changing their lunch breaks so they can get the coupon code and order at the right time. Yep. And that's how you get people to really get excited and be active, instead of just like, oh, they've got this event going on. Yeah, I'll think about that. And then they totally forget about it when the date comes.
Yeah, I have it's so real. I have a very clear example. I run ads for a local free event. First year I did, a video campaign on Facebook, started a month out. A week later I did, hey, we're at this park, we're prepping for this event, ran that as an ad. A week later, it's like, we're here recording a radio ad for the event. Super excited to have everybody come out. A week later, it was like a day before, 2 days before the event, ran another ad that was like, hey, we're so ready for this. We lined up all the food trucks. We got our music lined up. It's only 2 days away. Make sure you look out for the post the day before, because there's going to be something special. And then I did another post that we boosted, and it was like a month-long campaign that had multiple stages that built up people's excitement, and we had like 600-700 people at that event. Next year they didn't have as large of a budget. We ran a single ad for a month. Less than half that amount of people came. They didn't have nearly as much excitement, nearly as many touch points, which is just basically times hearing from the event leading up to it. And it's like a clear line from last year to this year, just like a huge dip in attendance. And it points to that, like you have to shake people out of their I don't know.
Complacency.
Yeah, complacency. I was going to say apathy. I think complacency is a little better. It's like they don't want to, you got to give them a reason to get up off the couch and go do something. And if they just see the same message over and over again, it becomes background noise. Mm-hmm. So you really got to mix your messages up, kind of build it up over time, and make it sound exciting, because it is, right? Like you're doing something fun, you're offering something that it really has value, and people you need to show them why they want it, build that desire. So
yes, and I love what you're saying too, like how to actually use this on Facebook. Now you boosted it, and that's great with boosting it, but even if you didn't boost it, if you have a group of followers and you're showing them pictures along the way, let's say you're doing a grand opening. We know somebody who's doing a grand opening this week. I don't know if you know her, but a bunch of us here know who's doing a grand opening this week. Show us getting ready. Show us you setting the tables up. Show us you finishing off this wall or that wall, or setting up, different displays and that sort of thing. And say in those posts, like, oh my gosh, we're getting this all ready. We're getting ready for the big grand opening this Thursday. And I'm so excited to see you guys there. And just keep dripping it until finally we've got to be a part, because we're part of the process all along. How are we not going to be there?
Yep. Do a funny picture of like little kids' craft scissors. Like, do you think these are going to work to cut the ribbon? Like there's a lot of opportunity for humor in there too. Like I love stuff like that. And you can really build up an event like that for sure. The thing with running them as ads, like it's essential if you don't yet have the audience. Like that page didn't have any likes or followers on it yet, and like you don't have any credibility, so you might need to run some sort of advertising if you don't have the followers yet. But if you do, it's organic's definitely the way to go.
Totally. And you can do the both. I'm just trying to tell everybody here, like it's not an ad You don't have to do it as
Yep.
ads, like what
Yep.
Duncan said, and you don't have to do it as emails, like I said. It could be strictly organic, you getting your followers excited. But if you could do ads, organic, and emails all at the same time,
That's
like,
a winner. Yeah.
yeah, it's a knockout. There's no way, like, you'd have to really mess up to mess that up. Like, you'd have to really be trying to mess it up.
Yeah, there's no way to guarantee results, but if you have a multi-layered campaign like that that's going out through different marketing channels, it's, again, hard, like you said, very hard to not get results.
If I needed results, that's what I would do.
Yeah, same.
I want to make sure I cover all the bases. I'm gonna do this across all the different platforms, boosted, organic, and email.
Yep.
Totally agree. All right, so those are our 10 things. I thought about adding a bonus, but we're going to hold on the bonus.
Ooh.
Because we're already 20 minutes over time.
And are you using that to build excitement for, like?
Yes. Oh,
okay,
you guys,
cool.
You guys didn't hear the bonus? I guess you'll have to pay attention to, I don't know. I had no plan on that, but that's how that works. I was going to do something, but now I'm not. Now you guys like really want to know what that bonus is, but we're not going to talk about it. So, questions. Does anybody have questions about anything that we shared here, or ideas of how they could use it in their business, or how they think they could use it in their business and maybe not quite so sure? We're open to questions. No questions. Great. Everybody's got it, and they're going to like take action on everything that they just learned because it's super clear exactly how to use it in their business. That means Duncan and I are amazing, and we said everything with such clarity. We created no questions.
Hashtag crushing it.
I couldn't come up with a hashtag rebuttal. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Work on it.
I know, because I was going to say hashtag killing it, but it was too close to hashtag crushing it.
Dana said, wait.
Wait. Okay. Yes, Dana.
Hold on. I'm trying to find, where am I?
You're here. We can hear you. Yep.
Okay, that's good enough. You don't want to see me. Okay, so let's go back to the print newsletters, Allie. So is there some, I like that idea too. I think I'm old school and throwback. I think our clientele would completely resonate with that. So give us, I mean, I know that there's got to be an app, or is there a template that you would suggest or find? I mean,
that's a good question. So I used to work with a couple of guys that offered done for you newsletters, where it basically the entire newsletter was written for you for a specific industry. So the one guy I worked with was in the auto repair industry, and he did done for you newsletters for other auto repair shops. So those subjects were pretty standard across the board. Like if they're going to talk about why you need an oil change, there's, objective facts there, right? We can share about oil changes. And then the business themselves would just like write an article to add to that. And so that would be the personalization part. And then maybe they'd send a customer story, and that would be the personalization part of it. So that's one way to do it, but you would really want to find like a catering done for you newsletter. I'm sure there are templates. I'm sure this can be done on Canva. I haven't messed with print newsletters in a long time. It's something that I've always dreamed of having a done for you print newsletter business of my own. But bright, shiny objects, I try not to chase them because it can be difficult to come up with all of the ideas on your own. You can go as simple as the simplest newsletter I've ever seen is just a postcard newsletter where you're sharing a piece of advice or a story or something on a newsletter, and you're sent on a postcard, and that's what you're sending them. I like a simple 4-page newsletter, which is just, front, inside, back. Simple one sheet of paper. We used to have Minuteman Press do it, and it was fairly cheap to do something simple like that. And then potentially an insert. And the insert would usually be some sort of offer or talk about like Christmas is coming up. And if you haven't hired a caterer yet, we only have these spots available. And here's the things you need to know. So the insert would be more of an offer. In the newsletter itself, you can share client stories. I know I'm going to miss stuff, but client stories, tips and tricks, You can have a recipe there would be fantastic, like sharing one of Cookie's recipes. You can have maybe a spotlight of you or Cookie, or maybe there's a Cookie's corner where Cookie talks about like her favorite parts of catering, something like that. And then you can do something along the lines of something interactive, like I like crosswords. You can have crosswords done on apps where you just say, make me a or crossword or a word find. Make me a word find using these words. And it's all maybe Thanksgiving related kinds of words. You could also highlight other businesses on there, and potentially charge for that if you wanted to. So you could say, hey, we want to introduce you to Angie. Angie does the flowers, and let's talk about Angie a bit. And so you're able to give them, an introduction to another business. So you'd really have to kind of like format it out, and we'd have to really kind of sit down and think what works best for you specifically. It does take time. You're going to have to spend a half a day to a day doing this once a month. It does take time. That's why the done for you is so attractive. But the time, especially in your niche where you can connect with people on that personal level, and then you send out that newsletter, you are their caterer at that point in time. You're part of the family. You're in the inn. It's almost like these family newsletters people send out at Christmas time. You're part of the in group, and they care about what's happening with you. Talking about events that you're big events that maybe you're catering in the future, or ones that you've done, all of that. Asking for referrals, and again, customer stories. So
there's a business that comes to mind it's kind of in the same realm, right? Like newsletters are essentially you're putting out some sort of print media that does all of the it hits all the marketing boxes that we always talk about. And there's another way to do this. There's a guy that he has a business. He's an author. He wrote a book about how to throw the perfect dinner party, and it's like a massive business. I don't know too much about it, but tapping into something like that teaches them how to do the thing that requires your service is like another route that you could take. And I think that really the thing that matters most with these newsletters, because I get a lot of them, like I sign up for a lot just to kind of see how they're doing it. It's trying to stay away from the sale as much as possible, just like you do in your Facebook posts. It's like as soon as I feel sold to, it feels like it doesn't feel like a community anymore. It doesn't feel like I'm a part of the group. It feels like I feel like, oh, this is just like an advertisement. It's just like the back of the magazine tabloid. Just give as much value as humanly possible. And that is what brings people in. So whether that's like a newsletter, or if you write like a longer piece of material that can be reused, that's like a mini, like an ebook about how to throw the perfect party or whatever, they kind of work in the same way. I do think that if you don't have the time to do like that regular newsletter, don't want to go the done for you route, you could put some time into a larger piece of media that can be sent out to a broader audience, and you could get a lot of traction out of that as well. Just a thought.
Yeah,
if you did the written piece, the actual print, would you not do the email portion of it, or would you do both?
I would do both. So everything that you write, if you spent a day to write up all of this content, you can reuse that in your email. You can reuse that, cut it up into posts. What I would not do is send it to them as a PDF. So how I like to originally, when I first figured out Facebook, when I was like, I don't know how this works, and I went to conferences and training, what finally melded it in my brain was I was familiar with newsletters, and Duncan's right. A newsletter has all of these different pieces. We're building know, like, and trust. We're telling stories. We're customer spotlight. We're doing all of these things in every single newsletter. All it is deconstructing that newsletter is Facebook posts, right? I always like, you knock the newsletter on its side and you spread it out. And that's what your posts are. So it's the same kind of content you can take to your Facebook page and that you can do on your emails, but you don't present it as the full piece on
As a
email
PDF.
and post.
I get
You
you.
Yeah.
you take pieces and parts, you deconstruct it, and you build that over a long period of time. And the newsletter is, because they're sitting and reading the newsletter, they're going to read a little bit here and a little bit there, and then they're going to read it again. They're going to pass it off to somebody. You can put a lot more in a print piece than you would the other medias.
Yeah, and I'm sure you guys have seen those kind of newsletters where it's like in the email itself, and it's really graphic, and there's lots of pictures and colors, and it's almost like instantly I don't want to read it. It becomes, again, part of like background noise. It's just like kind of filler. The thing that is great about the print side of it is like you get a physical thing, and it's like, oh, now it feels special. Now it's like the elements about the email side of it that made it feel like normal and kind of cheesy and background noise. When it's in print, it makes it feel special to me. So, yep.
Yep, absolutely. If I see a newsletter, and that's why I always tell people, don't put on your website, sign up for my newsletter, because nobody wants an email newsletter. Nobody does. So I say, sign up for my VIP club, sign up for a free coupon of some kind. Like for my rabbit toy site, it's sign up for a free toy. Click here and sign up for a free toy, and they give me their email, and then we give them other things too. We give them lots of messages. But newsletter by itself is not interesting when it's email, but when they get it in the mail and they're like, oh, look, Dana and Cookie sent us, like, and you can have fun with it, like Dana and Cookie news paper, like, I don't know. There's probably fun, creative ways to do it that I'm not creative enough to think about right now. But just like
one and done times or whatever.
Yeah, the one and done times. Yeah, something like that where you're being playful with it and you're having fun. And they're going to pay attention to it because you don't put it in an envelope. You fold it and you mail it as is, so they can see like, oh, okay, and then some of it is continue on page 2. So they got to open it up and read and what's on page 2. If I can find some, I'll send you some examples of some real simple ones. The companies I worked for, I was not in love with their layout, but it still worked. So I'll look to see if I can find some of these old ones that.
Yeah, I'd like to. I mean, I think that'd be. I mean, I've said that for the last 3 months. Our clientele wants to touch and feel. They're not as active on. It's not a Facebook clientele. We've identified that. It's not necessarily. They like the pictures, but they like the old prints too. So yeah.
Okay. They are on, and they are Facebook too. And it's good to touch them in all of the different ways that you can connect with them.
Right.
But I think they will like I think almost everybody, we did it for our bookstore. We had print newsletters for our bookstore, and we would have a coupon in each one. That's how we delivered our coupons for the month. So different offers that we would make. And so they would cut it out of there. So we knew they were reading it because they would cut out the coupon and bring in their little coupon, and they'd say, oh my gosh, we love what you said about that. I love getting your newsletters. It just allows them to connect with you and feel like they have a relationship with you.
Yeah, I like that. All right. Thanks for waiting.
No problem. All right, guys. So I think we're going to wrap it up. I did mention I want to talk a little bit at the end of where we're going to go from here. So Duncan and I are working on putting together a comprehensive, basically how to market your business sort of academy, something or another. We've gone through these last 3 months of calls, and there are times where, like Jessica says, I don't know how to set up an audience, or Dana says, I'm not quite sure how to format this template, a template for this newsletter. What we're wanting to do is really create a information source that anything that you're doing in your business and you're not quite sure technically how to do it, we're going to show you both how to do it technically and the best strategies and tactics you can do within that. So it's not just how to set up a Facebook ad, but how to set up Facebook ads that actually work. Okay, this is how you set up your Facebook ad, but here are specific campaigns that you can run and how you do that now that you know how to put the ad together. Same with the organic Facebook side, all the technical sides of setting up your Facebook page, but also these are the best posting strategies. We're even looking at possibly publishing calendars that you can promotional or post it like I do for my handmade people. We do a posting calendar. And I've been working on something like that will work for local businesses that's pretty a bit more across the board. That's going to work for most people, and provide you guys all the resources that you need to do the do-it-yourself. This is not an agency where we necessarily do for you, although that will be available if you get stuck or if you really need help on certain things. We want to put together a program that really attracts the person who says, I want to learn the marketing. I want to get better at the marketing. And there's just parts that I don't know. I don't understand this part or that part, and I need help and I need guidance on that.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I'm excited too about the creative side, like talking about how to take decent photos, videos, how to cut them together. If you need to do editing, you know, how to get decent audio. Like I get, you know, fired up about the creative side as well. And we'll definitely be teaching about that too. So
yes. And then as well as that, we're going to have the weekly calls in this program. So just like we've been doing with Marketing Power Hour here, it may change a bit more to, hey, today we're going to be answering questions about organic Facebook posts. And then another day it's going to be about, you know, camera stuff and audio stuff. Or it could just be hot seats every week. It's really going to depend on where you guys go with it. You know, I do a hot seat every single week. Like if we had enough people in to do a hot seat every single week, I would do hot seats every single week because I think it's good for the person, but it's also good for everybody else listening. But we're working on that. Duncan and I are getting together next week and just planning out the entire process. We are going to send out some surveys to you guys to find out how you enjoyed this Marketing Power Hour call. What do you think it was missing? What could it have? We're going to ask, you know, kind of lay out the program and say, this is what we plan to offer. Is this something you would be interested in? And or if not, why not? You know, what are some of your biggest concerns? I know that time is always a concern for everybody, right? Having the time to do their marketing. So we're going to be working on ways to make it quicker and easier. That's like with the calendar. How do we help you do these things quickly and easily and not in an overly technical, heavy way that you feel like, okay, now I have to learn to be a videographer just to do my own videos. We're going to try to dumb it down as much as possible. Simplify it. Let's not say dumb. We're going to simplify it as much as possible so that you, while it may not be perfect action, 75% action is going to get you a lot more results than not doing it all because you were afraid that you weren't going to be 100% perfect.
yeah, and really cut through like the noise, right? There's a lot of noise about what to do. There's a lot out there about what you should do for your marketing that's kind of just like not great. So we're going to cut through all that, get to the stuff that really matters, simplify it, make it quick and easy. And I think that's it. Yeah,
exactly it. And we're not going to be focusing on, you know, like, okay, everybody, TikTok's the new hot thing. Here's how everybody gets on TikTok. If it's not a good strategy for a local business to use, it's not something we're going to teach. So creating your own Facebook group is usually not a smart decision for a local business. It can be, but that would be a higher up strategy. We're going to look at ground floor. What is the most effective thing you can do now to get the most sales now? So we don't know what to call it. We don't know. We have an idea as of right now, but we are looking to launch in the new year. So come January. So we're going to take November and December to sketch this thing out, name it somehow, find a name for it, and get the training recorded. Obviously, it's not going to be all the training all at once, but we will be adding to it as the months go on. We'll be adding more and more elements, and your guys' feedback is what's going to help us create the best possible program ever. Just like I said, answering questions is the best way to create content. Answering your specific struggles and where you're unsure of is the best way for us to create the best product as well. So Jessica said, I would purchase anything you all do. You have helped me so much. You two are amazing. Oh, see, that's all I needed to hear. That's payment enough. No.
Thanks, Jessica.
No, I'm so happy to hear that. And that's really, and I've talked to Duncan about this, and I've talked to Scott about this. This is really kind of a passion project of mine. This is really about honestly helping you guys see real results. Duncan has a business, I have a business, but we both care about helping people. And so, and we want to hang out more. So this is a good way for us to hang out more. And and also help you guys and empower you to make really great decisions for your business. Okie dokie.
Well said.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming. It was so great to see you. Keep an eye on what is to come. I might publish a video with that bonus content that we were talking about. And watch for our new Marketing Ping Pong podcast on Mondays. And otherwise, we'll see you in the group. Bye.
Bye.